Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture.
And I'm actually Andy Murray from What Culture. That's my name.
Don't forget, if you want to hear the news when you're out and about on the go, you can download it as a podcast. All you need to do is subscribe to What Culture Wrestling wherever you get your podcast from. But coming up today, an update on the story about Enzo and Cass potentially coming to WWE.
2 potentially huge matches to be added to the Clash of Champions card.
And a huge star has signed an AEW contract extension. This is the news.
And up first, we have a new report from PW Insider concerning 2 wrestlers who are currently absent from WWE television. And now it would appear that their long-term status within the organization might be, and I quote, in limbo. So, this won't surprise a whole lot of you when I say the names Lio Rush and Lars Sullivan, but
24-year-old piece of gold.
both of them are currently off television. You'd think that perhaps there would be a door open for them to return through once their current issues are resolved. That may not be the case. PW Insider reckon, as I've said, they're in limbo, perhaps they're on thin ice, and maybe they're not long for this WWE universe. So for Rush, obviously, he had that very outspoken, I don't want to call it an outburst because that kind of undermines what it was, but an outspoken statement against his perceived mistreatment in WWE with regards to things like traveling expenses and so forth. There were some deeper topics in there as well. It was a really fascinating story, a worrying story if what he was saying was true, and it caused a lot of controversy with guys like Mark Henry and others kind of clapping back at Mr. Rush. Since then, he's been off TV. He was removed immediately from his role as Bobby Lashley's manager and a wrestler on 205 Live, and now he's been concentrating on music and other projects. So he obviously has something lined up should he eventually leave the company, but it's not looking great for him at the moment. The other guy, Lars Sullivan, well, he's just had the worst year of all time, hasn't he? He misses his first debut due to unfortunate mental health issues. He comes back onto TV and, he's just crushing dudes on TV and so forth. And then those message board posts from a couple of years ago before he signed with WWE rise, and it causes all kinds of hoo-ha, and he gets fined $100,000, and then he's on TV, and then no one cares because the push is really bad, and then he gets injured, and he's off TV forever. Well, at least until the end of the year. So his situation is, there's just a feeling that he's injury prone and maybe just not worth the hassle. So, it's kind of hard to see them releasing him while he is injured. Man, it doesn't look good for these guys.
No, it doesn't look good, and it's kind of surreal because you look at someone like Lars Sullivan and you think, regardless of whether or not he's injury prone or his checkered past, let's just say, you'd sense that WWE would be able to book him correctly. They love people like that. Vince, if he could build a wrestler from the ground up, he would mostly look like Lars Sullivan.
Yeah.
And with all the stuff we've been reporting about AEW and New Japan and WWE sort of trying to keep a stranglehold on all these wrestlers, it's weird to think that they'd just be like, yeah, you could potentially be this monster for another promotion, but you can go. And someone like Lio Rush, I really, really hope doesn't leave WWE because I think he is phenomenally talented.
Him. Yeah.
Look, if we take away all the mic skills, he's just great in between the ropes, if you ever watched a match of his on 205 Live. But add into that he just transformed Bobby Lashley from someone who everyone just sort of went about to, a despised heel. And the fact that he can get involved in that, and he used to be that annoying little gnat I described him as at ringside, I think he is the perfect manager for anyone who really needs a bit of a mouthpiece. And I hope that this can get resolved because I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I love Lio Rush. I love the stuff with Bobby Lashley, and the Lars situation is quite complicated because the anxiety, the mental health issues he suffered at the start of the year, very serious, very sympathetic. Wish him all the best in recovering from those, obviously. But obviously the guy has been a complete gross, really misguided fool on those message boards with all those racist, alleged, perceived racist, homophobic rants against some people who are now under WWE employment. It's just really bad. It's a bad situation all round. I just hope that whatever happens with these guys, and this is such a blasé statement, that whatever happens is best for everyone involved.
Indeed. Well, we're going from 2 people who may be leaving the company to 2 who may be returning. You may have heard that we reported yesterday. Enzo and Cass are allegedly being considered for a WWE NXT return. Well, Dave Meltzer has responded to this claim, saying WWE says there is no interest in Enzo and Cass at this time. But fans of Enzo and Cass returning to WWE NXT do not lose hope yet, because friend of the channel Ryan Satin says WWE tells Pro Wrestling Sheet there's no truth to report, but it could be WWE just covering their tracks. After all, if you're going to have a sensational return like this, and a shocking return without question, you're not exactly going to go, oh yeah, they'll be back in a few weeks.
Yeah. Get used to them on USA Network. They're not going to spoil that, are they? It's an interesting little story, this, because it was Dave who first broke it in the Observer newsletter yesterday, and then he tweets later in the day saying it's not happening. So what that suggests to me is that his source has either led him up the river and just told him a bunch of bollocks that Dave has reported in good faith because he's taken it as something worth reporting, and then later in the day he's spoken to WWE themselves and they've gone, nah, piss off. So I think that it's kind of hard to take this rebuttal too seriously because of what you've just said. They're not going to spoil a return. Like, if they can have a cool moment on NXT, on the USA Network, or what they think is a cool moment with Enzo and Cass coming back, then yeah, they're just not going to go, yeah, we'll see them soon. And make no mistake, that would be a big moment. Whatever you think of Enzo and Cass as performers, those guys showing up, they've got name value. Enzo, you can say a lot of things about Enzo Amore, but he has always been a great talker.
And Cass looks in phenomenal shape.
Cass is absolutely ripped at the moment, isn't he? Jesus Christ, Michael Hamflett will be like...
Shout out to DDP, by the way, who helped him with his recovery.
Yeah, man, love it. Cass comes off very well over the past few months. Like, he's been very honest and open about his struggles with things like depression and addiction and so forth. And I wish that guy all the best in the world, because he just seems like a really honest, genuine dude. And he's had a really rough couple of years. Whether or not they'd fit in the new NXT is an interesting discussion, I think.
I think it would guarantee eyes on the product at the moment you move to TV, so I can honestly see it happening.
Yeah, same here. Me too. Let's move on. Let's roll on to our next story. Can't remember what it was. Clash of Champions. There we go. I do actually have notes sitting in front of me. Why didn't I look at them? No idea. Anyway, Shagger Dave, in his Figure 4 Online daily update, has come through with 2 new matches for the Clash Champions pay-per-view, which, of course, takes place on September 15th. The first one, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, is Roman Reigns versus the Rowan lookalike. No, it's Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, of course. Match was originally rumoured for SummerSlam, didn't happen. We've seen the programme progress to the point where Roman speared Bryan out of his boots on SmackDown this week. The other match is going to be a Women's Tag Team Championship match. It's going to be Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss defending their belts against nobody knows yet, but they are going to be defending their belts.
They're beating all the women's tag teams.
Beat everybody! Give me the belt! That's going to be happening as well. And of course, on Raw, we've seen the build to Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. Maybe that'll be a thing as well. So, you know, if even 2 of these 3 matches come up, the card's looking pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Clash of Champions, sometimes you have the issue of them just sort of hot-shotting people into title feuds, but a lot of these feuds look really interesting and exciting. There's the fascinating dichotomy between Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins, of course, and I'm glad that they're finally pulling the trigger on Roman versus Bryan, because it's dragged out long enough now. Like, I love the whodunit thing, but you need to now go forward and Bryan be like, okay, yeah, it was me, but here's the reasoning behind it, etc., because you need a good justification behind
100%.
why he tried to murder Roman Reigns. And in terms of who Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss are going to face, I can't think of anyone, but considering the track record WWE have got recently, it'll be a tag team of 2 people who've never met each other.
Yeah, it'll be Bob Holly and Molly Holly or something silly. I'd like it to be Sex and Violence, personally.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
They faced off with them. They were in that fatal 4-way when Bliss and Cross won the titles. Yeah. But, they've beaten the Kabuki Warriors. They obviously beaten the Iconics. I'm so sad about that. I'm not even going to give it the full whammy.
Save that for later.
Sex and Violence would be an entertaining little match.
I just want to see Sonya Deville do good things. She's really great, and I think she's a really great role model as well.
Absolutely. Let's move on to our final news story of the day, and it is the news that Dustin Rhodes has signed a new multi-year AEW contract. This was all over Twitter last night. He's not only going to be a wrestler, he's going to be a coach, match producer / promo coach.
This is really good news. 50 years old, veteran, one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time, been in the game for 3 decades, or really his whole life, considering who his father was, of course. Awesome match with Cody, loved it at Double or Nothing. I actually enjoyed the tag match against the Young Bucks a lot more than a lot of people from Fight for the Fallen as well. Bit long, but a good classic, old school style tag. Delighted for Dustin, man. He is legitimately one of my favourite wrestlers, and for him to have this career renaissance is just lovely.
Yeah, I'm really excited for him. I think at the moment that Double or Nothing match finished, everyone went, yeah, he's got a future. It makes sense that they would sign him to any sort of backstage capacity. But yeah, the odd match here or there as a wrestler,
yeah.
I think everyone could be fully invested in. And you know, we saw what that match against Cody meant to him and the reaction that got, and he was so proud of that.
Yeah.
Very quickly, just speaking of AEW, of course, it's All Out this weekend, and you know they do these countdown to shows.
Yes, sir.
But usually over in the States, this is. If you are wanting to watch Countdown to All Out and you're like us here in the UK, some fantastic news. Of course, All Out is going to be on ITV box office, but also prior to that, the Countdown to All Out show is going to be available on ITV and on ITV's YouTube, more importantly, immediately after it airs in the States. Now, that's probably going to be about 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, but if you're going to be like me and just getting proper bloody buzzing all
Johnny
day
Blazed.
Saturday ahead of All Out, don't forget we're going to be doing a live stream of reactions to that and New Japan and NXT UK. What a weekend we've got. You can check that out, yes, on Saturday. Well, basically when you wake up on Saturday morning, it's going to be on ITV's YouTube channel and be well worth checking out.
Can't wait to see everything that comes from this wonderful
What a weekend
of wrestling. Shall we move on to
Yes.
the tour questions today? I've got them today.
What?
Don't know why, just felt like doing them.
Friday, innit? It's all topsy-turvy.
And because I'm weird, I have printed them out instead of just, doing them on my phone like a normal person. So the first question here comes from regular contributor, legend of the channel, Bryant Nungari, who asks, should WWE use the King of the Ring tournament to set up storylines for the wrestlers who aren't booked to win the tournament, like McIntyre costing Cedric to lose versus Joe by attacking him before the ring bell? So, yeah, setting up.
I think so, yeah. I mean, we sort of suggested, speculated on this from the beginning, but akin to sort of the Royal Rumble, you can use this tournament to build to feuds that can be blown off at, say, Hell in a Cell, for example. Yeah. Because, yeah, as much as it's going to be useful when, King Corbin pops that crown on his head, you're going to want to utilise this to make some other interesting storylines and spin-offs and what have you. And when you've got guys who are in the later stages like Andrade, who haven't really got anything as of right now, the question marks about what's going to happen with him and Ray obviously are still hanging over everything, but it would make complete sense. Chad Gable, Andrade, like you say, Cedric Alexander, they've kind of flirted with this feud with Drew. I don't know whether you want to do that or something else, or who knows, but absolutely this should be a jumping off point for a lot more feuds than just whoever is crowned King of the Ring. It's
the best possible way to use the tournament format, isn't it? And I absolutely 100% agree with everything you have just said. For a refreshing change. We never disagree on this channel, do we? It's weird. Next one comes from Crookshanks the Surfer, whose username is Big T. Not sure how that ties together. It's actually Ahmed Johnson. He says, they say everyone is talking about CM Punk, but what about AJ Lee in AEW?
I'd love to see her. I think she was phenomenally talented and very much, she's kind of been forgotten about, but she was brilliant back in the day. And I've said CM Punk is going to be appearing at All Out. I may be one of the only ones who's just sort of drank the Kool-Aid and bought into all this, but I genuinely think it is going to happen on Saturday. I don't know whether he's going to get that much involved, but he's definitely going to be making an appearance in my opinion. And I think it could be a stepping stone. I don't think we're going to get CM Punk on weekly TV, but I certainly think it could be a stepping stone for AJ Lee returning to wrestling as well, which is just brilliant.
And I certainly hope you're right, because I think AJ was great back in the day. I think she's maybe in a similar boat to her husband in that she doesn't really want or need to do it, but it'd be awesome to see, wouldn't it? Final question today, and it comes from Alexander Katopodis. I hope I've pronounced your name right there, sir, who asks, with his Triple H, that's not Triple H avatar, is it? What's that? I don't know. Anyway, he says, I'm not Indian, I don't like curry, but I've got a question for Wilborn and Murray. Rhymes are back, baby. What is the most
iconic, sorry, I forgot about this,
moment in wrestling? And he caveats this by saying nothing with the
iconics.
These moments would have been
iconic
before the
iconics
made the word
iconic.
Okay. So what's the most iconic? You're right, mate.
I think you should go first.
Okay. So what's the most iconic moment in wrestling history? It's probably for me, it's Hogan slamming Andre. I mean, it's such an obvious answer. It's such an easy answer. But WrestleMania 3, a white hot crowd, such an important moment in wrestling history. Such an important moment in making Hulk Hogan what he is, and in turn making WWE what it is today. I mean, I can't really look beyond it, to be honest.
Yeah, when you asked me this question, a lot of things flash up. Stone Cold, The Rock, etc., etc. And I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about the fact that Kofi Kingston winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania made me cry, but that kind of is cheating because that was my first WrestleMania, so that probably wasn't as iconic as for other people. But I'm just going to go with the first thing that popped into my head when you asked that question, and that is Daniel Bryan winning the title at WrestleMania 30. That image, that actually, after all we went through building up to it, and WWE going, definitely not that guy, he's not going to win it. And then the crowning moment of glory, obviously slight disappointment following that, but that image, WrestleMania 30, both belts, in a match against Batista and Randy Orton, having beaten Triple H earlier on in the night, doesn't get much better than that, does it?
So in conclusion, we'll see.
Yes,
anyway.
In conclusion, the Iconics winning the Women's Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania 35.
And finally, we have a lovely little image here. WWE released this image yesterday of Kofi Kingston holding all the belts that he has held throughout his career. Look at that.
Look at that.
United States, obviously the WWE title, Intercontinental, various tag team championships. Very decorated man, and this image really puts it into perspective. But a few hours after he did this, another WWE superstar, another very decorated WWE superstar, issued his own image.
Oh.
And here he is. In his Guinness pants, Sheamus. There he is. He's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's got the King crown. That's just, what a beautiful image that is.
I love Sheamus.
Look at his thighs.
I think he's just fantastic. He's obviously, there's question marks over him and injuries and, whether he will ever actually return to WWE. But I think he's got such brilliant personality. He's got that workout thing that he does with everyone, which looks like he's murdering wrestlers week on week. But yeah, I hope they do utilise him and hope he does get a chance to return because when he was back and we were a bit like after the whole Roman Reigns title TLC bollocks, not TLC but the one before that. Survivor Series, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah. I think so.
It was a bit like, and then the bar came along and we were like, this is bloody pointless. And then they were just brilliant.
Just great,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, more of that. And more wrestlers doing that sort of thing.
In Guinness
Maybe
pants.
not John Cena because he'll break both his arms.
What type of pants do you want to see like other wrestlers, like male wrestlers obviously? John Cena,
what type? Fruity Pebbles pants.
Yeah. Never give up across his balls.
Made out of Fruity Pebbles.
Oh my good, oh Jesus.
There's a mental image for you Friday.
Anyway.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling for daily wrestling podcasts, of course. And you can send us Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE. Whilst you're there, follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for this guy. It's Hakushi, mate.
You can follow me at Adam Wood. You can follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. What a guy. Yeah, let us know your thoughts on Hakushi, I suppose.
Hakushi.
Completely thrown me
Hakushi
now.
sounds really weird in my voice,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Push Hakushi.
Looks like he's been printed on. Anyway, right. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
I'm really gutted Hakushi never got a pushy.